Congressman Greg Murphy of North Carolina. Congressman, thank you for coming in. What's your reaction to what they were just talking about, the anger and frustration some of your colleagues are facing at town halls in their districts?
Yeah, I think it's a symptom literally of the division in our country. And frankly, and I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings there, but I think the media is the primary cause of this because of how it stokes emotions. Look, I think they're paid protesters. They're people who are professional protesters. Look, I try to have decent, respectful discussions. If we disagree, we disagree. But the yelling, the profanities, the death threats really are uncalled for. And, that's not the way I run things. Everybody runs things a little bit differently. I prefer to have a much more smaller, respectful discussions. We do a lot of telephone town halls. I think this is a sad, emblematic state of our country right now. Being so divided, but this is emblematic of what we're facing.
Yeah, I don't have any information about protesters being paid. Anything beyond that, I will just say that I know that we've heard people talk about that and make that accusation before. You have faced criticism and even protest I've seen for not hosting in-person town halls in your district. Are you planning to hold any during this break?
Well, if you see what just happened, I mean, they're just not fruitful. They're not something that I think there is respectful debate. I have office. There have been a lot of protesters that want to meet with me in my office, and absolutely, I'm doing that all the time now. But I'm not going to sit and let things degrade into where it's not really fruitful. It's not anything that is productive. And so right at this point in time, I'm happy to meet with people if they call and want to have a civil discussion. But as far as just raucous screaming and yelling, I'm not interested in that because I don't think that is fruitful for anybody.
And what do you say, just the counter of that, to those constituents who would see that, who I've heard see that as you dodging tough questions by not holding something in person for them to be able to approach in kind of that more open, publicly accessible format?
As I said, if people call and want to meet with me, I'm happy to do that. And, when we have our telephone town hall, I think the last one, probably 80% of the questions were Democrats. There's nothing I'm dodging. I don't have to dodge anything because I fully can defend what I believe and what I believe the direction of this country is and what people want in this country. So I'm not dodging anything. I'm literally just trying to avoid chaos.
Let's talk about some of the issues, the big pressing issues that are facing us right now, which including tariffs and the trade war that continues to unfold. You have been supportive, I've been looking at your statements, and supportive of the president's trade moves and the tariffs. Leveling the playing field is something that I have heard you say. Republican senator from your state, Thom Tillis from North Carolina, he is skeptical. He seems more skeptical about what these tariffs mean, especially for North Carolina farmers. Let me play you this, Congressman.
Anyone who says there may be a little bit of pain before we get things right need to talk to my farmers who are one crop away from bankruptcy.
I'm assuming this all got gamed out because it's a novel approach. It needed to be thought out. Whose throat do I get to choke if this proves to be wrong?
That's part of the line of questioning that he had for the U.S. trade rep. How much pain do you think North Carolina farmers can take before they break?
Yeah, I think our farmers, before the tariff issue was coming about, we had to supply them with $10 billion. They really needed much more during the last session because farming has been so difficult. They've been hit by high fuel prices, high fertilizer prices, and so many other things. Yeah, this is a difficult time, and the president has committed to helping them just like he did during the first administration. But, Kate, if you look back and you see literally what the slides are about what's going on with the American trade issue, the Biden administration did absolutely nothing in 4 years. Kamala talked about root causes, but she never went and tried to develop any type of manufacturing, anything near shore in Central America that we would be benefiting from now. But sadly, one thing we did learn during the pandemic is that we are so reliant on foreign adversaries for basic items, critical minerals, our pharmaceuticals. We need to get those back. And if you look at where the structure of the American economy is now, we don't have a manufacturing economy. We have a service economy and we have a government employee economy. Yes, we manufacture some things, but by and large, if God forbid, we were forced to have to deal with ourselves and have to deal with our own manufacturing, we couldn't do it. Look at the boat building industry. I believe in the last 4 years, The Navy says they built 6 boats and they've decommissioned 15, and that the boat building capacity of China is estimated to be over 230% what the American manufacturing economy can do. So yes, these are drastic measures. They're 50, they're 75 years in the making, and we need to right the ship. Senator Tillis and I agree on most things. Maybe we don't agree on some things. I know our farmers are hurting, and I know the president has committed to helping them in this very difficult time.
On that, I'm curious, will you support giving more subsidies, government subsidies and aid to farmers, if that would also mean it eats into the revenue that the tariff revenue would bring in?
Well, if this is we're trying to play the long game here, Kate. It's not just a short game here. China works in 25 and 100-year increments. We want to open up markets to our farmers. Like Australia, some of the other countries that don't allow. I have a lot of hog production in eastern North Carolina. They won't allow any of our goods to come into there. We literally just want fair trade. And if we have to help our farmers in the meanwhile during this difficult period, I'm all for it. We need to be able to produce our own food. And if in the short term they need to be supplemented and help with that, I have no issue with that.
Congressman Greg Murphy, thank you for coming in. Coming up for us.
Thanks, Kate. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Coming up for